Hello, my loves. I'm back. So many of you know that I have not been doing regular energy updates, and it's because I needed to allow for some things to shift and change for myself and for me to understand what I was being asked to bring forth. So as you're hopping on, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, same thing. Let me know where you're watching from and how all of this resonated with you. So today we're going to be talking about the September energies. Overall, I know we're well into September, and that's okay. I'm not actually going to put a date on this because that was part of my struggle with continuing to do the energy updates. Is I was feeling the constriction of having to focus in on a certain date and time. And as we evolve and become more conscious and have a wider and wider perspective, time becomes way more fluid. And so we don't feel the constrictions of time anymore. We also don't fall into the boxes of time anymore. So it is a balancing act, to be honest. So what I'm being asked to do is when I feel called to give an energy update, and they will probably typically be around the moons, I will, and I'm not going to name them because you will see this when you're meant to. There may be a tidbit of information or a new awareness that I bring forth that you don't need until 3 months from now, right? So time is very fluid. And so I want you to remember that if you're watching this from a later date. September for me, from the guides that I work with, is being part of a great transformation that is taking place. And I'm going to share a lot of my own experiences because I don't quite understand exactly what they are showing me yet, but I have a feeling about them. And I know I'm not the only one. And so this might give you some perspective about what you may be experiencing. I know from what the guides have been telling me that this month we are going to be literally going through a metamorphosis. We're going to be going through a major rebirthing. And some of this is going to bleed into October, at least for the collective that I'm speaking to right now. Because remember in June, July, I started talking about the galactic new year and the big shift, right? As we move into the divine feminine, which hasn't been a dominant energy for us in a really, really, really long time, right? Not in our lifetime. And so this is going to take some adjusting. And just as a butterfly goes from a caterpillar to turns into a butterfly from a caterpillar, it literally dies. It turns into this goo. And then it becomes something new. And that's what we're being asked to do in this month, is to literally face the parts and pieces of us that maybe we have repressed or rejected for a very long time. Maybe we have entered into the energy of distraction or keeping ourselves busy as a way to avoid feeling. And so it takes a lot of strength and courage to do this work. It takes a commitment and a dedication to face what you're feeling, what the stories are playing, and to see them objectively. It takes strength, courage, commitment. Those are three things that I keep hearing. And we live in a society today where we have everything handed to us very easily, right? We have fast food. It's ready, it's done, it's cheap. We have technology, electronics, where we get that instant gratification of having everything right here, right now. This is why, like the weight loss industry, right? It's a $1 billion industry. Same with manifesting. Why? Because people are seeking the easy way. They're seeking the magic pill, and it just doesn't exist. You can create ways of making life easier and comfortable as you go through this process, but you only get to that space by going through it, right? And having someone else lead you through it if need be. So this is why there's so much talk about strength, courage, and commitment this month, because a lot of what we are being asked to do requires that within us. It requires us to have that courage and that strength and that commitment to ourselves and to our evolution. And the energies cosmically are set up perfectly for this, right? So we have the 9-9 portal, which is, for me, a lot of people are talking about karmic timelines and all this, and I'm going to share about that in a second. But what I'm being shown is the energy of transformation, the energy of transmutation, the energy of alchemy, magic, taking something that is a painful memory, a mistake that maybe you made, or something that happened to you, right? And extracting the data from those, the lessons, what you learned from it, and putting it into use. Using whatever emotions you're feeling currently and whatever you're going through, whatever your current state of reality is, right? Feeling into it, using that emotion as a guidance system to navigate you on a new path, one that's going to lead you to actually where you want to go, not sitting there spinning. And so that's really important for us to realize, is that when we get out of our own way and when we commit to the change and commit to the work of showing up for ourselves, hey, Terry, we are no longer, when we show up for ourselves, like when we're not in that resistance, it's not as painful as you think. It's not as difficult. Yes, it takes work. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but it becomes easier and more fluid when you enter into that state of resistance, right? Whether you're resisting sitting still, you're resisting being with your emotions, you're resisting listening to the thoughts that are running through your mind, you're resisting taking action, speaking your truth, any of those things. The lessons, the repeat cycles of these patterns will only increase. So I don't always have the most popular opinion or perspective that I'm given. And trust me, I have had battles with my guides of this doesn't make sense. This is uncomfortable. This isn't fair. I help humanity. Why do I have to experience? I've been there. But when I finally got out of the way and was like, okay, I'm open to see this perspective. I'm open to see what happens here. If I do this, everything changed. When we face resistance, we just keep going over and over. It's like when you're stuck in the mud, right? When you keep spinning your tires, hoping for something to happen that hasn't happened, yet you keep doing it. And all you're doing is digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper. Right? Or you can spend that energy, that frustration, and get out, and you can say, okay, what can I do here to maneuver myself to see this differently, to see a new way? How can I create a change here? Right? And this is when you start thinking outside of your box and you say, okay, let me go find a piece of wood or some rocks or whatever, right? And you allow yourself to pull up and out of the situation that you've dug yourself into. So please have grace for yourself and love yourself and be easy on yourself and talk to yourself as if you would talk to another person, as if you would talk to a child. Have that grace and that communication with yourself. So with that 9-9 portal, right, which didn't open yesterday, it actually opened a few days before that. And we had quite a lot of activating cosmic energy come through on Saturday and Sunday. And now it's starting to ground, right? So this is when you start to feel the energy anchoring into the earth. But over the weekend, we had a lot of cosmic energy coming through, and I could feel the shedding taking place within my system physically, right? And I used to go through a lot of suffering with that. I used to go through a lot of pain until I shifted my perspective of this. If I don't want to suffer, I have to detach from this being a personal thing that's happening to me because I did something. And I just had to experience it. And I'm jumping a little bit ahead here, but I want to be clear with you guys. The answer this month, and in any month, honestly, where we are being asked to step outside of our comfort zone, where we're being asked to look at whatever we're experiencing from a different perspective requires presence, requires us to be in our own awareness. So what I want to, and I wanted to share before I jump too far ahead into the full moon and new moon energies, I wanted to talk about timelines and that karmic energy that's collapsing. So cool kind of thing for me is I have been seeing these, what I can only name to be glitches, right? So a lot of times people say, we live in the matrix and that this experience is a game. Completely agree. Took me a long time to get there, but I completely agree. But what I've been experiencing are these glitches. And so what a glitch looks like to me is, for those who don't know, I see a lot ethereally, meaning I see it with my eyes open. I'll see objects like my cup. I can see it as energy, and I can see it as a solid form, right? So that's been happening for a while for me. Now, all of a sudden, I'm starting, and this only happened this past week or so, that this has been happening, where I can be looking at something in my home or when I'm driving or when I'm out anywhere, and it's like this black or really midnight blue light beam shows up, right? It's not like it comes down or comes up. It literally appears, it goes this way, and then it goes back together, and then it's gone. And it happens in an instant. And so I've been feeling into, what is this that I'm seeing? What are you trying to show me? And when that's happening, I've noticed in my body that I feel almost like this twitching, like my eyes twitch and my body twitches. And when I tapped into what is this, it's timelines. It is timelines collapsing. So I also started seeing these wavelengths appear, same thing, not coming down, not coming up, just appearing centrally. And the only way I can describe them as this, when you're driving on a hot summer day and the road kind of gets those wavy lines, like there's water on it. Has anybody ever experienced that, where they've seen that? That's what I'm seeing every now and then appear centrally, meaning not coming in or coming up. And it's just, there's nothing that I'm seeing in the portal, right? Because it's what it is. It's a portal. It's a new timeline. It's like an access point to a higher timeline or another dimension, which I'm going to do a whole nother video on that. So stay tuned for that. So it's not that I don't see what's on the other side of it. So for example, if I see it in front of my fridge, I see this wavy, it's like everything's fluid and water in this one little section, but I can see through it and I can see my fridge behind it. Isn't that pretty cool? And so I had to ask and communicate and connect and say, what is this? And it was a portal. It's an access point, right? So it's not that you guys need to see that. If you are, I know there's others that do. That's fabulous. I think it's extremely cool to experience these things, right? And to understand our perspective of them. But as it relates to September and what we're currently going through, it relates to a lot of contracts, a lot of timelines, a lot of things that have come through from our ancestors, a lot of things that have been conditioned in us, right? Things have to fall away. They have to die. Contracts need to break. Connections dismantle. Relationships begin to fall away. Things in our life can sometimes get more chaotic and harder right before it's about to get really good, right? And it's a sign. It's a sign that you are about to upgrade. Things will start dying away in your life. And that sucks sometimes. It really does. I completely know that because I've been through it. I've had to say goodbye to relationships. I've had to let things die away. But you can experience this in a multitude of ways. You can have all of a sudden all the equipment in your house starting to break. You can all of a sudden have fights being picked with you from people that you normally wouldn't, right? In relationships. You can all of a sudden lose your job or be offered a new opportunity somewhere else. Right? Or maybe you get evicted from your home, which I hope none of these things are happening. But I'm giving you examples to shift your perspective and see them in a way of, my life is upgrading right now. I'm being asked to grow outside my comfort zone and upgrade my consciousness, my way of living, my way of seeing, shifting what I'm seeing as a terrible experience and poor me into, okay, this is uncomfortable, but it's leading me somewhere amazing. Because it almost always does, right? Depending on how you choose to see things. So as these timelines, right? These karmic timelines and timelines that we created ourselves from making choices in our life, right? Because every choice that we make opens a pathway. It's an opportunity or a possibility, always. They're never right or wrong. It's just a way of experiencing things. So when we're doing this, when we're closing out, when we're allowing things to die away, fall away, right? When we're allowing ourselves to get in that uncomfortable space and begin to grow, we open the doors to the spaces that we've actually been desiring and craving. We open the space almost like a shortcut or a doorway, right? So you have 3 doors in front of you, 3 choices you're going to make. You can have resistance and fight against it and dig yourself deeper and go almost like down and this way and around and almost like another way, right? You have this choice, which is not comfortable, right? Maybe you have to walk a tightrope to get to that door. But once you do and you open it, you see abundant gardens and sunshines and rainbows, right? And maybe there's another one that's a little bit more of a wider pathway, and maybe it's guided by somebody, but it's still uncomfortable, but it gets you there. Do you see what I'm saying? When you go through, you open up yourself to a whole new level, whole new perspective, a whole new energy. But it takes a discomfort, a patience, a courage, and a confidence that you have the ability to do these things. So I hope that that's making sense. Yes, I have been excited and was homeless in 2016. I've been evicted, sorry. And I'm sorry that you had to experience that. But at the same time, there's something in there that experience taught you. There's something in that experience that gave you a different perspective on life or a new way of seeing things, right? Or an appreciation for your home that you currently have and your life now. There's always a reason. There's always a purpose behind the pain that we experience. Nobody said it was going to feel good, and it sucks, but we didn't come here for rainbows and butterflies. We came here to grow. We came here to evolve, right? We have to remind ourselves. It actually helps me to remember that I chose to evolve. And I have to remember that in the times of discomfort. So as we continue moving through this Friday, for some, it'll be Friday the 13th. For some, it'll be Saturday the 14th. For me, it will be the 14th. It'll be a full moon in Pisces at 12:25 a.m. Saturday. So overnight, Friday into Saturday for me. And that's Eastern time for those who are wondering. Pisces is an emotional sign. It's a water sign. And I'm very connected to that energy because it's actually my moon sign. But what this is doing is this is going to be rising up those emotions that have been deep down in the depths of our soul for a long time. And it's going to be bringing it up to the surface. So sometimes I'll have clients or even friends, to be honest, that'll be like, out of nowhere, I'm like emotional, out of nowhere. Where is this coming from? Why am I thinking about this all of a sudden? Why am I feeling this all of a sudden? I haven't thought about that in years. Well, it's ready to be seen. It's ready to be felt and experienced. And it's when we say we're releasing, all we're doing is releasing the judgment. We're no longer judging that experience. We're accepting it. And when you accept it, you integrate it. And it becomes knowledge. It becomes exactly what you need to shift the next time you experience something similar, right? You are able to use that knowledge as a tool for you in the future. So often people do not, though, right? And this is how we think, oh, I thought I healed this. Well, you were given an opportunity once again to make a different choice, and you didn't. You chose the easy, comfortable way of whatever may be the case. It's when we constantly choose to do the work and change our patterns and change our perspective and change the way that we respond to situations, that we begin to reprogram and repattern, right? This is actually a little bit about what we're currently learning in my soul flow experience that's running. So this week and over the weekend is going to be a beautiful time to sit with yourself. When people ask, well, what can we do, right? So the very common things that are always going to be the case, it's going to be eating clean, eating intuitively, nourishing your body with living foods, drinking lots of water, hydrating, right? Water is a conductor of energy. It moves energy. Moving your body, resting if you feel called to rest, salt baths with baking soda, very, very cleansing of our body and our system, right? It's understanding how you personally transmute emotion and your thoughts. But regardless, across the board, it's sitting still. It's sitting with yourself, listening and objectively seeing your thoughts, noticing the sensations and emotions in your body, right? Having a conscious conversation with yourself. This is why I always teach that energy and knowing your energy is the key to everything. It's the key to mediumship. It's the key to psychic abilities. It's the key to opening your clairs. It's the key to almost everything, is being present and aware at all times of what your energy is. Hey, always. But again, so often we look for that magic pill. What is the quickest exercise to open my third eye or to make me feel better and get out of this ick? There really isn't. It's a state of allowance, awareness and allowance, patience, courage, confidence, all the things that fire from our solar plexus. There's going to be a rebalancing that's happening though, because what's going to happen is I got to make sure I stay I'm on a little bit of a time constraint, ironically, as we're talking about time. But there's going to be a rebalancing. So right now we're going through this week and a half or so, maybe even almost 2 weeks of intense transformation, transmutation, alchemy, choosing courageously to face what we need to face so that we can go to that next place, right? So we can rise, and not from a level of hierarchy. When we talk about dimensions or vibrations, it's about the rate of speed that we process things and how objectively we see them. Right? I'm going to do a whole nother video on that. So, but when you go to that next level or space, what you're really doing is you're seeing everything from another point of view. You're processing information at a faster rate of speed. And that is very serving to you. So once we go through this emotional upheaval, right, and let things die away, then they have to be reborn. And then we have, as these new relationships start to show up, new opportunities, new possibilities, new perspectives, new programs that we choose to run, right? New ways of seeing things. We have to come into this balancing. We have to find our footing once again in this new space that we've arrived and begin to practice being in that space. Not only that, but then we move into the new moon in Libra, right? Again, all about emotion or relationships, all about communication. And that's what we're being called to do. As we rebalance ourselves, we're being asked to have a new conscious connection with ourselves, which will then open a new conscious connection with other people. We're being asked to communicate with ourselves, with our body, with our energy more, so that we can observe and communicate more with other people. We are being asked to be present and fully aware of what's happening in any given moment. And this is a purification that's happening. The new moon in Libra on the 28th is at 2:22 p.m. Eastern. And 222 is a purification number, and it's the energy of grace. It's the energy of giving yourself the space to be heard, seen, felt, to love yourself through that rebalancing that's happening and come back into communion, love of yourself, right? Because we get so focused on twin flames and my relationships, and including our relationships with money, including relationships in our business world. and our family. But we forget about ourselves when the outside world is simply a mirror of what's happening in here. In here. So when we come into communion with ourselves, when we open up that conversation with our own energy, when we rebalance ourselves to that new vibration that we choose to process at, and that new level of awareness, we begin to realize that everything we need is within us. We no longer feel the desire to seek. And if there's something that we don't personally know, or we need help and guidance with growth, that person will show up, right? That's the whole thing. When the student's ready, the teacher will appear thing. All of a sudden you're feeling the urge to have this growth, but you're not sure how. Next thing you know, all over Facebook and YouTube and everything, all you see are all these teachers, right? That teach the thing, allowing you to spend that time to connect to their energy and discern who's the right person for you to work with, right? That's generally how it happens for me anyway. So this month is going to be intense for a lot of people, but it's also going to be freaking amazing. So many are going to be stepping into a whole nother level of consciousness within them and seeing a whole different perspective on the world, let alone their own reality. So yes, we are being asked to go through a little bit of discomfort right now. We're being asked to face our emotions, to see that the things that are happening in our reality are there to create growth within us, right? To allow us to get up off our butts and be that change, to do the work. And not be one of those people that sits back and says, poor me, fix this. Who's going to make the change? Who's going to make the world a better place? Why don't I have any money? Why isn't my life moving forward? Why am I stuck? Why am I whatever? When we ask why is a victim terminology according to my guides. Even when it comes out of my mouth, I hear it. And it's like, well, nope, what? What is this showing me? What is the opportunity? What is the possibility? What can I learn from this? What is the purpose of this, of this experience that I'm going under right now? What is this anger trying to show me? What is this weight on my body trying to show me? What is this pain in my shoulder trying to show me? Be willing, be open to have that dialogue with yourself. When you feel the overwhelm, when you feel the anxiety, you're tapping into your own insecurity. You're tapping into you doubting yourself. And I know a lot of you personally that are followers of mine, and you are powerful, bad mama jammas. You know, but yes, it takes courage. I've been there. You don't always want to do it, but once you start doing it, you get more comfortable with it. And so we just create this new way of being. But it really comes down to how committed are you? How committed are you to change your life, to change your perspective, to change your reality? I'm a firm believer, and it is part of my mission to help people understand that they are the creators of their reality. That you have a choice always. And it's not always going to be an easy choice, but it is a choice. So let me look at this real quick. My husband had Lyme's disease, lost his job after being homeless. So many things me and my family have been through, especially with fussy baby and toddler. I've stopped with being a victim and saying, poor me, poor me. Good for you. Like, seriously, I applaud you. And it's difficult. I've shared this before about being in a spiritual awakening. When I woke up, let's put it this way, when I realized I was in an awakening and I started to understand the concept of I chose this reality, I chose to go through these experiences, I was angry. And it's okay to be in that space. It's okay to disagree with me. It's okay that you see things differently than me. It's okay to be sad, angry, whatever. It's okay. That emotion is necessary. Emotion is energy in motion. It's guiding us somewhere. It's wanting us to take us on a journey to see something. So when I was angry, I was like, why would I choose to go through these horrible things that I went through my whole life? Why? Like, some of it was bad. Why would I choose that? And the answer is, and has always been, at least from my perspective, from what I've been told from my own communication with my team, is that we chose to experience a lesson to evolve our consciousness and our soul, which is also a piece of the whole, right? So each and every person makes up the whole consciousness. This is why we talk about it and from a collective. And this is why I'm always saying, if every single person became the change, did what they needed to do, even if it was only behind closed doors in their homes, they are affecting the whole. When you sit on your couch and you get pissed off at the news, right? When you get pissed off at the news and you start hollering and whatever, you are reacting from an emotional state. You are word vomiting. You can say, can I use that energy, that fire in my belly? Can I use that energy to create a change, even if it means picking up the phone and calling your congressman or calling a bunch of friends and saying, hey, let's get together and do something. But we don't. A lot of times we don't. We sit there and we get pissed off. And what are we doing in that state? That emotion, we are affecting the whole, because we are all vibration. We're all energy. I don't expect anybody to live in this state 100% of the time. In that phase, that would be what we consider walking enlightenment or waking enlightenment. Is it possible? Absolutely. But the more important thing is you came here to have an experience. You came here to evolve and grow. You came here to connect, to touch, to be present, to experience what we cannot experience in energetic form. This is a gift. We chose to come into this experience. So why don't we make the best of it? Do the work. Have that courage. Love yourself. Know that you are worth it. You are worth taking that 30 minutes or an hour to sit with yourself every day. You are worth making the time. Time is fluid. We can choose to make excuses that I don't have time, but remember this in closing. I want you to remember this. No matter what we're doing in life, we need energy. We need energy to come on here and speak. We need energy to clean our house. We need energy to work with our clients. We need energy to go to work each day. When you don't take care of yourself, when you don't fill up your own gas tank, you have to siphon from somebody else. Whether you consciously are aware of it or not, it's happening. So therefore, when we start to do things from a space of, I have to do this, I don't have time, I'm going to do this for this person, even though I know I need to stop right now and fill up my own gasoline, fill up my own tank, fill up my own energy. I'm going to do this anyway. You're actually giving them a disservice. You're pulling from that person to serve them. Does that sound serving? Does that sound efficient? Let me pull from your gas tank so I can go help you. Makes no sense. But when we have to see it from this perspective in order to shift it. If you want to be the best of your ability to help people, if you want to be serving to others, it requires you to first serve yourself. So much. And this was something, thank you, Terry. Was a hard lesson for me, you guys. Because I was the queen martyr. I did everything and then I bitched about it. I did everything and then bitched about it. Complained. Oh, no, I'll just do it because you're not going to do it right. Wow, I wasted so much energy. Wow, I drained so many people. because I was afraid of being rejected. I was afraid it wasn't going to be done the way I wanted it, right? Control. All of those was coming from fear. But the moment I said, no, I need to work on myself today. I need to take an hour for myself today. I need to take a freaking nap today. I need to sleep in today. I need to meditate longer today. I need to swim today, whatever it is for you. Doesn't mean you have to go run out and get a coach or a shaman or whatever. Sometimes all it requires is just to sit our butts down and stare at a tree. It doesn't take a lot, but we have to honor what our body and energy needs. It is the key. Awareness is always going to be the first step. After that, it takes a whole lot of courage and a whole lot of confidence in yourself. So I love you guys so much for hopping on with me live. Thank you, Terry. Mama Bear Arts. I know your real name, but I can't think of it at the moment. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. I will be posting this week more videos on timelines, dimensions, vibrations, and other things. So if this resonated with you, if this was information that served you, please share and please give me a like. And then just make sure you are getting notified when I go live, because this is going to happen a whole lot more.